This is the OnePlus 8 Pro, OnePlus's brand new premium Android 10 handset, and I kind of like it. OnePlus actually launched a pair of Android 10 handsets. This is the OnePlus 8 Pro. It's a 6.7-inch, 7.8-inch AMOLED display, and this is a OnePlus 8, and it's 6.55 inches, and it's thinner and lighter than this big guy. For the purposes of this video review, I'm going to focus in mostly on the OnePlus 8 Pro because it is their premium, OnePlus's premium smartphone. It has all of the main features, and of course, in addition to having the larger screen, it has the higher resolution, it has more cameras, it has wireless charging, and it has IP68 rating, which means I could drop it in the toilet. The OnePlus 8 Pro is the follow-up to the OnePlus 7 Pro that you may remember for one distinct feature. It had the pop-up camera. So this OnePlus 8 Pro now puts the front-facing camera right inside the screen. There is a tiny drill hole. You can almost see it right up front there. And I actually prefer it because, one, it's a little bit cleaner looking, a little bit less of a gimmick, but two, it gives more space for battery and more space for more powerful components inside the phone. The OnePlus 8 Pro is a little bit taller than the OnePlus 7 Pro and a little bit thinner, and it's definitely lighter. So this guy is 199 grams. This one was over 200 grams, and you will feel the difference. All right, I really like this display. So it's gorgeous, it's AMOLED, it's called a Fluid display according to OnePlus. OnePlus has also upgraded the refresh rate. So the OnePlus 7 Pro was 90 Hertz. This is 120 Hertz. And that's the number of times the screen refreshes in a second. It's something that you aren't going to necessarily notice just by looking at it, but some screen motion, app motion, scrolling through apps, some videos going to maybe look a little bit smoother. And when I ran tests, it was confirmed as 120 Hertz compared to, for example, on the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max, you have a 60 Hertz display. Now, that's not saying that a Super Retina display is not as good as this display, but there is that small bit of difference that some people will notice just on the smoothness of motion. Let's talk about these three cameras. We've got the wide, the main, the color filter, and the 8 megapixel 3x optical zoom. We have a 48 megapixel, that's the main camera, and you're going to be shooting typically in what's called 4-in-1, so 12 megapixels, but each pixel is going to have 4 pixels stuffed into it, basically better light and color performance. Then you have an 8 megapixel telephoto camera that goes to 3x optical zoom, and then you have a 48 megapixel ultra wide with 120 degree field of view. These are three very good cameras. The color filter camera, it allows you to, so if you ever took pictures with like an old SLR and you would put little filters on top of it, you get these really cool color effects. You get a chroma effect and a vivid effect, and you can obviously can do this in software, but this is doing it more in a hardware fashion. But it's of limited utility. I don't entirely understand the need for this color filter camera right now, but here's what I think. I think that OnePlus is working on integrating this in a much more powerful way with the photography tool set. You can obviously shoot 4K video up to 60 frames per second, which looks really good. You can shoot slow motion videos. You can shoot time-lapse videos in 4K. On the slow-mo, by the way, you can go up to 480 frames per second at 720p. As I said, you can shoot portrait mode on this camera, which looks pretty good. You cannot adjust the portrait mode during or after the bokeh effect, during or after the shot. And in most situations, the portrait mode does really well. In this situation, I had a little trouble with my head and started chewing up my head and my ear because of the challenging background situation. One of my favorite photography features with the OnePlus 8 Pro is macro mode. If you've ever used macro mode on any other camera, you know it means that you can get super close to your subject to get details you might miss otherwise. I found a mess of ants outside and I took this photo. Here's another good example of what's possible with macro mode. I probably was about a ½ inch from the sort of stamen part of this flower, but the detail here again, amazing, a lot of fun. Inside the OnePlus 8 Pro is Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 mobile CPU. You know that's the fastest one they have, and the benchmarks are all in line with what I've seen on, for example, Samsung's Galaxy S20, so no performance problems. This phone obviously has a gaming mode. When I play Asphalt 9 Legends, what I'll have is the system basically shifts resources to the game. Playing full screen, it's just... So, as I said, sound, video quality, good. You can definitely watch a whole movie on this thing. In addition to Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 CPU, this has 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. Now that's at the high end, so that makes this device $999. If you want the $899 one, you're going to get 8 gigabytes of RAM and probably 128 gigabytes of storage. It comes in a number of different styles and colors. I like this. I like this color, and this is Gorilla Glass 3D on the back and the front. And actually, this is covered. The cameras are covered by Gorilla Glass 5. One thing about that storage, you know, you've got a dual SIM slot, but you don't have a space for a micro SD. So, hope you like 256 gigabytes of storage, because that's what you're getting. That's a USB-C port on the bottom, and speaker right there, and there's also a microphone down there, and I believe that is your, yes, that's your dual SIM slot right there. But you'll notice there is no 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so you're going to use your Bluetooth headphones with it, which I don't think is a big deal. So the OnePlus 8 Pro ships with this Warp 30 charger, and what does that do for you? It will charge the phone to 50% in 23 minutes. Now in my tests it charged to 49% in 23 minutes. I'm basically thinking that's pretty good. One of the other reasons I'm excited about the OnePlus 8 Pro is that it finally has wireless charging. So that means that if you buy their new $69 Warp wireless charger at $69.95, you can put it on here and charge it to 50% in 30 minutes. Now, if you really want a smaller, lighter phone, you're probably going to go for the OnePlus 8. But what you will be giving up is IP68, which means it won't be able to handle an extended drop in deep water. But the other thing you're going to be giving up is wireless charging. While the OnePlus 8 has a dedicated macro camera, it does not have the 3x optical zoom. As you might recall, with the OnePlus phones, they run on Oxygen OS, which is its overlay for Android 10, which gives you things like Zen mode. So Zen mode is when you want to take a phone break. So what do I think of OnePlus's OnePlus 8 Pro? I like it. It feels good. It's a big phone that doesn't feel like a big phone. Of course, it has great components. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 is as powerful as you're going to get on an Android phone. It's got a beautiful AMOLED screen. I do like the 120 Hertz refresh, because some of the things that I do on it, like scrolling through Twitter, which I do a lot, looks really good and really smooth. So I like that. The cameras are in general excellent. I think that OnePlus has a little bit of work to do on the software side, especially in portrait mode, where the results are uneven. Macro mode is amazing. I really like it. And it's got amazing battery life. I mean, the battery life on this, I kept pushing it. A day is no problem. More than a day, no problem. You're probably going to get up to 2 days of battery life on this. Now, one caveat here, because if you're using 5G, the 5G radio is always going to use more battery life. I don't have a way of testing that right now because I'm locked indoors for self-isolation for COVID-19. But I will say that in general, when I'm using it on Wi-Fi, when I'm using it with Verizon's LTE network, the battery life has been really good, even at full screen, normal use across games and apps, all different things. So this is a good phone. It's not the cheapest phone. This is not a bargain basement device. It's a premium device that's going to be on multiple carriers, including T-Mobile and Verizon. And I think it's something that if you're looking for an Android phone, you're going to want to consider the OnePlus 8 Pro. Yes, it does phone calls too. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, remember to rate, review, and subscribe.